I'm sitting in the boardroom I helped design when Mom slides a folder across the polished table. But she doesn't slide it to me. He slides it to my sister Rachel. I watch the paper glide past my fingers like I'm invisible. My stomach twists as Rachel opens it, her perfectly manicured nails catching the light. The words jump out at me, majority shareholder and so. I blink hard thinking I misread. But no, it's right there in bold letters. Rachel's lips curl into a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. She looks at me for just a second and in that glance I see everything. Victory. Relief. Smugness. Mom clears her throat and says something about new leadership direction. I try to speak but my voice catches. Then I notice something odd. My access badge clipped to my blazer suddenly flashes red when I swipe it against the sensor near the door. Security appears within minutes. They're polite but firm as they escort me out of the building. My building. The one I helped create from nothing. As I step onto the sidewalk, dazed and humiliated, one thought burns through my shock. This wasn't a sudden decision. This was planned. I sit in my car for 20 minutes, hands shaking on the steering wheel before I finally drive to Mom's house. She's in her garden, pruning roses like nothing happened. I ask her why. My voice cracks on the word. She doesn't even look up from the flowers. You were always too emotional, Maya, she says quietly. Too ambitious. Family loyalty means obedience, not competition. I can't believe what I'm hearing. Competition? I built that company with her. I gave up college opportunities, relationships, sleep, everything. Rachel appears on the porch holding a glass of wine, watching us. She doesn't say a word, but that smug expression says enough. I turn back to Mom, desperate. I thought we were partners, I whisper. She finally meets my eyes and her gaze is cold. You were never meant to lead, Maya. You were meant to support. The words hit me like a physical blow. I stumble backward and Rachel actually smirks. In that moment I realize they've both been waiting for this. Mom turns back to her roses, dismissing me without another word. That night I can't sleep. Memories flood my mind like a movie I can't pause. I remember the beginning, just two women in a cramped apartment with a dream. Mom had the vision for a logistics software company, but I had the strategy. I was 19 when we started, working 16-hour days while Rachel was at college parties, posting pictures with her friends. I built the client relationships, refined the software design, pitched to investors who initially laughed at us. Mom handled operations and finances, but I was the one closing deals, negotiating contracts, making the impossible happen. We grew from that tiny apartment to a real office, then to multiple floors, then to a headquarters building. $900 million didn't appear by magic. It appeared because I refused to fail. I remember pulling all-nighters before major presentations while Rachel visited maybe twice a year, always asking for money. Mom praised her for staying grounded and pursuing her own path. Meanwhile, I was the workhorse, the closer, the backbone. Now I'm supposed to believe I was never meant to lead. I stare at the ceiling, realizing something crucial. I remember who really owns the ideas that made us successful. And that knowledge is power. I spend the next week digging. I reach out to an old friend still working at the company, someone who owes me a favor. She sends me a file late one night, encrypted and anonymous. When I open it, my blood runs cold. Internal emails going back 3 years show a pattern I'd been too trusting to see. Mom had been positioning Rachel as her successor the entire time, despite Rachel's minimal involvement. There are performance reviews I never saw, board meeting minutes I wasn't copied on, strategic planning sessions I was mysteriously excluded from. One email from Mom to the CFO reads, "Rachel needs more visibility. Start crediting joint projects to her leadership." My projects. My wins. My innovations. Another email, dated 6 months ago, mentions contingency plans if Maya resists the transition. They'd been preparing for my resistance before I even knew I had something to resist. The most painful email is from Rachel to Mom. She still thinks she's irreplaceable. This will be easier than we thought. I close my laptop and sit in the dark, feeling the betrayal sink deeper. They didn't just steal my company. They rewrote history to erase me from it. The next morning, I discover the full extent of my exile. My bank account, the one linked to my company salary and bonuses, is frozen. When I call the bank, they tell me my employment status is listed as terminated, and my access is under review. My company email bounces back every message. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Your company vehicle has been reported. Please return it immediately. The car I've been driving for 3 years. Gone. I check my investment portfolio and find my stock options have been mysteriously restructured without my signature. I'm locked out of my own life. Everything I built, everything I earned, is suddenly behind a wall I can't access. I feel panic rising in my chest, but I force myself to breathe. I call my lawyer friend, Diane, and explain everything. She's silent for a long moment after I finish. Then she says something that makes my heart skip. Maya, something about this doesn't sound legal. Send me every document you have. I think your mom made a serious mistake. Diane calls me back within 48 hours. She sounds energized in a way lawyers only get when they found something damaging. Your mother rushed this transfer, she explains. She skipped required board approvals, shareholder notifications, and proper documentation procedures. She relied on intimidation and family pressure, not airtight legality. I feel a surge of hope, but Diane's next words temper it. Here's the problem. If you sue outright, the publicity could destroy the company's reputation and tank its value. Investors will panic. Clients might flee. You could win the battle but lose the war, and end up with nothing but legal bills and a hollow victory. I slump in my chair, feeling trapped. So what do I do? Diane pauses, then says carefully, you need leverage that doesn't require a courtroom. Something that makes them need you more than you need them. I hang up and stare out the window thinking, leverage. I need something they can't function without. And then I remember, there are pieces of this empire they don't even know I control. My mind starts racing with possibilities. That night, alone in my apartment, I finally break. The weight of everything crashes down on me at once. The betrayal, the humiliation, the loss, the injustice. I cry until my throat hurts, until my eyes are swollen, until I'm too exhausted to cry anymore. I replay every sacrifice I made. Every weekend I gave up. Every friendship I neglected because I was building the future. Every time I chose the company over my own happiness because I believed we were building something together. I wasn't just cut out. I was erased. Like I never mattered at all. Like my blood, sweat, and tears were just conveniences my mother used until she didn't need them anymore. I look at old photos on my phone. Me and Mom at our first investor meeting, both of us nervous and hopeful. Me and Rachel at a company holiday party, her arm around me, smiling for the camera. Were those smiles ever real? Did they ever see me as family or just as a tool? The pain is unbearable. But somewhere in the darkness, something shifts inside me. I decide I'm not going to beg. I'm not going to plead for scraps from the table I built. I'm going to outgrow them. And they'll never see it coming. I start digging through my personal archives. Years of contracts, agreements, and intellectual property documents. That's when I find it. Several of the company's most profitable systems were created by me before we officially incorporated. The client relationship management software. The automated logistics routing system. The proprietary vendor integration platform. All of them were projects I built independently, using my own equipment and my own time. I never formally transferred ownership to the company. I just let them use it because I trusted Mom. According to the timestamps and registration documents, the intellectual property legally belongs to me. Not the company. Not Mom. Me. These systems generate approximately 40% of the company's revenue. Without them, the entire operation would collapse within months. I sit back, pulse racing as the full magnitude hits me. They can change my title, freeze my accounts, and rewrite history. But they can't function without my technology. And they have no idea it's mine. I save every document, make backup copies, and lock them in a safe deposit box. Then I wait. I don't have to wait long. Rachel's about to make a massive mistake. 2 weeks later, Rachel holds a press conference announcing a bold company expansion and rebrand. She's wearing an expensive suit, standing in front of company banners, flanked by board members. She talks about modernizing our approach and leveraging cutting-edge technology to dominate the market. Investors clap. Industry publications praise her vision. Social media explodes with support for the new female CEO changing the game. I watch the live stream from my laptop and I can't help but smile. Because every single initiative she just announced depends entirely on the systems I own. The automated routing she's promising? The client platform she's expanding? Why? The vendor integration she's banking on? Why? She has no idea she just built her entire strategy on a foundation she doesn't control. That night my phone rings at 11:30. It's an unknown number. I almost don't answer but curiosity wins. Why? Mom's voice is tight with panic. We need to talk. I let the silence stretch before answering. About what? About some technical issues we're experiencing. We need your help. I smile in the darkness of my apartment. I'll think about it. I hang up. The desperation in her voice was delicious. Mom calls again the next morning, her tone completely different from our last conversation. She's gentle now, almost sweet. The voice she used to use when I was little and she needed me to do something difficult. Maya, honey, the company is struggling without your touch. You have a gift for problem solving that Rachel is still learning. We'd love to bring you back as a senior advisor. No pressure, just guidance. I ask about equity, about my title, about my access. She hesitates. Well, we'd need to discuss specifics, but we're thinking a consultancy role. Advisory capacity. We can pay you well. Translation. No equity, no power, no recognition. Just my brain and my labor while they keep control. I pretend to consider it, letting the silence stretch uncomfortably. Finally I say, I'll come back. But on my terms. Mom sounds relieved. Of course, honey. Whatever you need. I smile. She doesn't understand. My terms mean documentation. Evidence. Witnesses. I'm not coming back to save them. I'm coming back to watch them fail while I build my exit strategy. I'll start Monday, I tell her. She thanks me profusely. I hang up and immediately call Diane. Time for phase 2. I return to the office as an advisor, and it's surreal. My old office is now Rachel's. I'm given a small workspace in a corner like an intern. People who used to report to me now avoid eye contact. But I smile and play along. Over the following weeks I document everything. Rachel's reckless spending on rebrand consultants who deliver nothing. Her ignored warnings from senior staff about system vulnerabilities. Her refusal to listen to anyone who questions her vision. I watch the company bleed money. Unnecessary expenses, delayed projects, frustrated clients. I take notes. I record meetings with permission. I save emails. Rachel thinks I'm a defanged threat, useful for technical knowledge but no longer dangerous. She has no idea I'm building a case file that proves her incompetence. Then something unexpected happens. During a board meeting I'm not invited to, I receive a text from an unknown number. Can we talk privately? This is Marcus Chen. Marcus Chen, the company's largest investor. I step outside and call him back immediately. Mr. Chen. His voice is tired. Maya, I need to know something. Are you planning to stay with this company long term? It's a loaded question. I choose my words carefully. Why do you ask? He sighs. Because I invested based on your track record, not Rachel's. And I'm not the only one. My heart races. Would you like to meet for coffee? I meet Marcus at a quiet cafe downtown. He's with 2 other major investors and their faces are grim. They don't waste time with pleasantries. We trusted you, Marcus says bluntly. We believed in your vision. But now we're watching the company spiral and Rachel dismisses every concern we raise. Another investor, Helen, leans forward. We've lost 2 major clients already because of project delays. The stock is dropping. We're nervous, Maya. I don't badmouth Rachel or Mom. I just listen, nodding occasionally, letting them vent their frustrations. Finally, Marcus asks the question I've been waiting for. If you ever started something new, something that had your full attention and control, would you tell us? I meet his eyes. Are you asking hypothetically? He shakes his head. No. We talk for 2 more hours. By the end, I have commitments from 3 major investors for a new venture. Clean, legal, entirely separate from Mom's company. They want me to lead. They want my systems, my strategy, my vision. They're offering millions in seed funding. As I drive home, I feel something I haven't felt in months. Hope. I'm not stealing anything. I'm simply taking what's mine and building something better. And they'll never see me coming. 3 months later, I quietly file incorporation papers for a new company. Summit Logistics Solutions. I use my own intellectual property, hire my own team, and secure my own clients. The investors back me fully and within weeks we're operational. I keep everything completely confidential. No press releases, no social media, no announcements. I want to build momentum before anyone notices. Then on a Tuesday morning, a tech industry publication runs a story. Former Empire co-founder launches rival company with major backing. The article details my new venture, my investor support, and my proprietary technology. It's respectful, factual, and devastating to my old company. My phone explodes with messages. Friends congratulate me. Former colleagues ask if I'm hiring. Competitors reach out to collaborate. But the message I'm waiting for comes 2 hours later. A furious text from Rachel. How could you do this to us? Timon? You're destroying everything we built. I don't respond immediately. I let her panic simmer. Finally, I type back. I'm building what I created. You're welcome to keep what you actually contributed. He calls me repeatedly. I decline every call. That evening, Mom finally reaches me. Her voice is shaking with rage. You betrayed us. After everything I did for you. I stay calm. No, Mom. I freed myself from people who betrayed me first. She starts threatening lawsuits, public smears, emotional manipulation. I cut her off. Call my lawyer. Her name is Diane. Then I hang up. The next week is chaos. Mom and Rachel scramble to respond to my new company. They issue a press release claiming I stole proprietary information, but their lawyers quickly realize they have no case. Everything I'm using is legally mine. They try to freeze my intellectual property through court injunctions, but Diane shuts them down with timestamps and registration documents proving ownership. Mom calls me repeatedly, leaving voicemails that range from rage to tears to guilt-tripping. How can you do this to your own mother? I raised you. I gave you everything. But she didn't give me everything. She took everything. Rachel posts cryptic messages on social media about family betrayal and snakes in disguise. Industry insiders see right through it. The narrative is shifting. People are asking questions. Why did Maya leave? What really happened? A business journalist requests an interview with me, but I decline. I don't need to fight them in public. I just need to outperform them in the market. And I am. Summit Logistics lands its first major client. A Fortune 500 company that had been considering Mom's company but chose mine instead after seeing our superior technology. Then a second client signs. Then a third. Meanwhile, Diane sends me updates. Their legal threats are empty. Let them try. I sleep better than I have in months. Cracks start appearing in Mom's empire. First, a senior developer quits, citing leadership concerns. Then 2 account managers leave for competitors. A major client publicly announces they're exploring other options after project delays. Industry insiders start whispering. Stock value drops 8% in 1 week. I don't celebrate, I just keep building. But then Rachel makes a catastrophic error. She schedules a live interview with a prominent business network to set the record straight about the company's direction and my departure. I watch it live from my office surrounded by my new team. The interviewer starts with softball questions but then pivots. Can you explain your company's core technology infrastructure? Rachel freezes. She stumbles through a vague answer about innovative systems and cutting-edge solutions. The interviewer presses. Specifically, how does your logistics routing algorithm differ from competitors? Rachel's face goes pale. He doesn't know. He's never known. She tries to deflect, but it's too late. The interviewer smells blood. Is it true that your sister, Maya, developed most of those systems? Rachel stammers. Well, it was a team effort. The internet notices immediately. Within an hour, clips of her fumbling are everywhere. Twitter explodes. Reddit threads dissect her incompetence. Someone creates a hashtag. Hashtag who built the empire. I watch it unfold in real time and for the first time I feel genuine vindication. The fallout from Rachel's interview is swift and brutal. Stock value drops another 12%. 3 board members quietly resign. Clients start making exit inquiries. Industry analysts publish scathing pieces questioning the company's leadership and technical foundation. Rachel deletes her social media accounts. Mom issues a damage control statement claiming temporary growing pains. But nobody's buying it. Behind the scenes, I hear from former colleagues that the office is in chaos. Morale is destroyed. People are updating their resumes. The company culture I spent years building has collapsed in months under Rachel's leadership. Then the whistleblower emerges. Someone inside Mom's company, I never learn who, leaks internal documents to a business journalist. The documents prove everything. Emails showing Mom systematically crediting my work to Rachel, board minutes revealing the planned ousting, financial records showing my contributions versus Rachel's minimal involvement. The journalist publishes a detailed exposé titled, "The Real Architect: How Maya Chin Built an Empire and Was Erased from It." Goes viral. Suddenly, the narrative isn't about my betrayal. It's about theirs. My phone rings non-stop with interview requests, speaking opportunities and messages of support. Former colleagues apologize for staying silent. Competitors praise my resilience. And Mom? Mom goes completely silent. No calls. No texts. No public statements. Just silence. 2 weeks after the exposé, I receive an unexpected email. The subject line reads, "Can we talk? Mom." My first instinct is to delete it. But curiosity wins. I open it. The message is short. "Maya, I know I hurt you. I know I made terrible mistakes. Can we meet? Just family. No lawyers, no agenda. Please." I stare at the screen for a long time. Part of me wants to ignore her, to let her suffer the consequences of her choices. But another part, the part that still remembers baking cookies with her as a kid, laughing together during our early company struggles, that part wonders if reconciliation is possible. I agree to meet at a neutral location, a quiet park near my apartment. When I arrive, Mom is already there sitting on a bench. She looks smaller, somehow older. The confidence she always carried has dimmed. I sit beside her, leaving space between us. She starts talking immediately. "I was wrong, Maya. I was so wrong." But as she continues, I realize something crucial. She's apologizing for the execution, not the decision. She's sorry for how things happened, but she still believes Rachel deserved to lead. She still thinks I was too emotional. She offers to bring me back as CEO, as a partner, even as co-CEO. But she never once acknowledges that I built the empire. That I deserved recognition all along. That she betrayed me fundamentally. I let Mom finish her speech. She talks about family healing, moving forward, rebuilding trust. She cries a little, reaching for my hand. I don't pull away, but I don't squeeze back either. When she finally stops talking, I take a deep breath. "Mom, I appreciate you wanting to reconcile. But you're not apologizing for what you did. You're apologizing that it backfired." She looks confused. "What do you mean?" I turn to face her fully. "You erased me. You rewrote history to diminish my contributions. You positioned Rachel as the genius when you knew, that I was the one who built everything that mattered. And now, only because the company is failing and the truth came out, you want me back." She starts to protest, but I hold up my hand. "I don't want revenge, Mom. I don't want to destroy you or Rachel. But I also don't want to keep sacrificing myself for people who see me as a tool instead of a person." Her face crumbles. "So what are you saying?" I stand up, looking down at her. "I'm saying I choose myself. I choose my own company, my own vision, my own life. I don't need your permission anymore. And I don't need your validation." She whispers, "But we're family." I feel tears sting my eyes, but my voice stays steady. Family doesn't erase each other. I walk away, leaving her on that bench. And I don't look back. The following month, Summit Logistics announces a major milestone. We've secured a partnership with one of the largest shipping conglomerates in the country. It's a deal worth hundreds of millions over 5 years. The press coverage is massive. Forbes runs a feature story on me titled, "The Phoenix Founder: How Maya Chin Rose from Betrayal to Build a Better Empire." Incorporated magazine names me one of their 30 under 30 game changers. Invitations pour in for speaking engagements, podcasts, and conferences. My company is thriving in ways Mom's company never did under Rachel's leadership. We're lean, innovative, and driven by merit instead of nepotism. My team is passionate and loyal because they're valued, not exploited. Meanwhile, Mom's company files for restructuring. The announcement is buried in a quiet press release, but industry insiders know what it means. They're in serious financial trouble. They're downsizing, selling assets, and desperately trying to stop the bleeding. I feel a complicated mix of emotions when I read the news. Sadness for what we could have been. relief that I escaped. And yes, a small ember of satisfaction that the truth won. I'm not the villain in this story. I never was. I was just the one brave enough to walk away from people who couldn't see my worth. Within a year, Summit Logistics surpasses my old company in revenue, client base, and industry reputation. We're valued at over $400 million, with projections to hit $1 billion within 3 years. Media outlets call me the real founder, the hidden genius, and the architect who refused to be erased. I'm invited to speak at major tech conferences and I accept some of them. I talk about intellectual property protection, about recognizing your worth, about refusing to be gaslit by people who benefit from your silence. After one conference, a young woman approaches me, tears in her eyes. My family business is doing the same thing to me, she whispers. Thank you for showing me it's possible to leave and succeed. I hug her and I realize this journey wasn't just about me. It was about refusing to accept a narrative that diminished my contributions. It was about proving that talent, hard work, and integrity matter more than manipulation and family politics. Meanwhile, Mom's company continues to decline. They lose more clients, more talent, more credibility. The empire I built is crumbling under the weight of the people who stole it. And honestly, I've stopped checking their news. Because they're not my story anymore. Summit Logistics is. And it's a story I'm proud of. One morning, I receive an email with a familiar name in the sender line. Rachel. My stomach tightens as I open it. Maya, I need to talk to you. Please. It's important. I debate ignoring it, but eventually I agree to a phone call. When Rachel's voice comes through the line, she sounds completely different. Smaller, vulnerable, exhausted. I resigned, she says quietly. Well, the board forced me out. Same difference. I don't respond, waiting for her to continue. I know you probably don't care, but I wanted you to know. I was jealous. I was always jealous. Her voice cracks. You were smarter, more driven, more capable. Mom loved you more, even if she didn't show it the way you needed. I thought if I could take your place, I'd finally feel good enough. I close my eyes, processing this. So you destroyed me to feel better about yourself? I know it's unforgivable, she whispers. I know I can't undo it. But I needed you to hear me say it. I'm sorry, Maya. I'm truly, genuinely sorry. There's a long silence. Part of me wants to yell, to tell her how much she hurt me. But mostly I just feel tired. I hear you, Rachel. But I can't fix this for you. She starts to cry. I know. I end the call gently and then I sit for a long moment staring out my office window. Later that day I think about Rachel's confession. I think about how jealousy poisoned her, how insecurity drove her to steal instead of build. And I realize something important. I don't need her apology to heal. I don't need Mom's validation to know my worth. I spent so many years seeking their approval, their recognition, their love. But approval from people who hurt you isn't actually valuable. It's just another trap that keeps you small. I think about the young woman who thanked me at the conference. I think about my team at Summit Logistics who trust me because I've proven myself trustworthy. I think about the investors who believed in me when my own family didn't. That's where real validation comes from, not from blood but from integrity. I don't want revenge anymore. I wanted it once, in those dark early days when the pain was fresh. But revenge requires you to stay connected to the people who hurt you. And I'm done being connected to them. Rachel reached out because she needed closure. But I don't. I already moved on. That night, I mentor a startup founder who's dealing with a toxic co-founder situation. I share my story and she listens with hope in her eyes. This is my legacy now, showing others they can walk away and still win. I smile as I realize I'm not just surviving. I'm thriving. And I did it myself. A few months later, industry news breaks. Mom has been forced to publicly acknowledge my foundational role in building the original company. It's part of a settlement with investors who threatened legal action over misrepresentation. The statement is carefully worded by lawyers, but the admission is there. Maya Chen's contributions were instrumental in establishing the company's core technology and strategic direction. It's too late, of course. The empire is already crumbling. They've sold off major assets, laid off half their staff, and are barely maintaining operations. But seeing that acknowledgement in writing brings unexpected peace. It's not about vindication anymore. It's about truth. My phone rings. It's Marcus Chen, the investor who first believed in me. Did you see the statement? He asks. I did. How do you feel? I think about it honestly. I don't feel angry anymore. I don't feel hurt. I just feel free. He laughs. That's the best revenge there is. After the call, I close my laptop and head home early. I stop at a park and sit on a bench watching kids play soccer. The sun is warm and I realize I haven't felt this light in years. The weight of their betrayal used to crush me. But somewhere along the way, through building Summit, through proving myself, through choosing my own path, that weight lifted. I don't need their acknowledgement anymore. I already know who I am. In the following months, I focus on building something meaningful beyond just business success. I start a mentorship program for women in tech who've been sidelined or underestimated. I fund scholarships for first-generation college students pursuing STEM degrees. I speak openly about intellectual property rights and protecting your work in family businesses. My leadership style is completely different from Mom's. I believe in transparency, in crediting people's contributions, in lifting others up instead of tearing them down. My team at Summit Logistics thrives because they feel valued. We grow because we collaborate, not because I hoard power. One afternoon, I receive a message from a journalist working on a profile piece. What would you say to young entrepreneurs dealing with family betrayal? I think carefully before responding. I tell them that blood doesn't entitle anyone to your work, your vision, or your future. Family should build you up, not tear you down. And if they can't do that, it's okay to build your own family, one based on mutual respect and shared values. The journalist publishes my quote and it resonates with thousands of people. My inbox floods with messages from people sharing their own stories of family businesses gone wrong, of betrayal and recovery. I realize my story was never just about me. It was about all of us who've been erased, dismissed, or underestimated. And I'm honored to be part of that conversation. Today, I sit in my own boardroom, a bright, modern space with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. My name is on the wall, engraved in elegant letters, Maya Chin, founder and CEO. I look around at my team, people I trust and respect, people who chose to be here because they believe in what we're building. Summit Logistics is now valued at over $600 million and growing. We've expanded into international markets, developed new proprietary technology, and built a reputation for innovation and integrity. Industry leaders respect us. Clients trust us. Competitors try to copy us. And I built it all on my own terms. My phone buzzes with a notification. Forbes has named me one of their most powerful women in tech. I smile, but I don't need the validation. I know my worth now, with or without the headlines. I think about that boardroom where Mom handed everything to Rachel. I think about the humiliation, the betrayal, the pain. And I realize something profound. They didn't shut me out. They set me free. Free to build something better. Free to become who I was always meant to be. Free to prove that talent, integrity, and resilience always win in the end. I wasn't shut out. I was set free. And I'm just getting started.